Okay, so I've received quite a few comments on a lot of my, on a decent amount of my videos, and I would like to address a few circumstances that have come up, considering that I have been, I guess, quiet on this channel. And so for those of you that I guess have gotten what I've put up so far, I'm going to address a few things, some new info I guess I could share. You could consider it new. So first and most importantly, I've received a few comments discussing the idea of spirits and demons and so forth. I want to keep this as simple as possible, as well as the next few videos I should be doing today. First and foremost, I'm not going to try and make any claim that spirits or demons exist outside of yourself. If you experience them as that type of entity, as in if you summon something, you see it outside of yourself, you can either make the assumption that it's separate from you, or you can accept the fact that it's an aspect of your own awareness that you are projecting into a, say, 2D, 3D, or energetic presence in the room. Ultimately, you are the one who has to decide what works for you in regards to your own practice, either being theistic or not, whether you're a Satanist or a Luciferian or chaos magician or whatever you identify as. Ultimately, your results are determined not only by you, but by your belief in yourself, if you will, the outline you give your awareness to work with. Meaning that, say, one day you could, say, work with a element or a planetary spirit, and you work with it in conjunction with that specific time or moon phase or what have you that's associated with that spirit, and you may see results because you addressed it based off the principles and the powers that are already commonly associated with that. But let's say you try to create an egregore or your own spirit, and you are new to this type of, the idea of that, of making your own entity out of your own energy or awareness, and then you set everything up, but because you're not familiar with that and you're expecting it to manifest outside of yourself rather than from within yourself, maybe the manifestation of what you were trying to accomplish didn't come through because it is something new in your awareness and there's no previous feedback or energetic presence to it. In other words, if you take a specific, like if you look at the spirits of the Goetia, which are kind of based in Christian ceremonial magic, which is, in my opinion, kind of a stupid system to work with, but if it works for you, then great. I prefer to take away a lot of the I guess Kabbalistic or Christic beliefs associated with most of the Goetic spirits. But if you work with the symbolism of one of those spirits, that's that being, that the imagery, the sigil of that being has been in human awareness for a longer amount of time, is probably more frequently being used simply because the Goetia is a popular thing used in pretty much most practices at least once, even if most people will say they don't use it anymore. At least at some point in most magicians' practice, they have either worked with or been familiar with some aspect of Goetia because it's that, I guess, mainstream, if you will. And so you'll receive more results from working with something like that simply from the fact, like this is the instance that you're new to this type of thing, simply from the fact that there was already momentum and feedback put behind the not even just the spirit, but what that spirit's energy represents. And of course, working with any energy, any current, whether it's Luciferian, Celtic, shamanic, or what have you, your feedback is determined mostly from your own persistence with creating that. I mean, you can go on and on about, oh, well, I did everything right and then still nothing happened. Well, this is another trap that many new people fall into, is that you're expecting something to happen physically to affirm that you did something. And one of the people that I actually found a lot of my, I guess you could say, training from in magic and got inspiration from, stated very clearly in one of his works that simply because you not see something happen on the physical plane does not mean something didn't happen at all. I mean, your perception can only see so far in what it's used to, that you may not notice the very subtle currents of energy being manifested. Some people will notice it like that. Some people will feel it as a temperature change. Some people will see, on occasion, objects will move. And realize that when objects move in the room and you say that a spirit did it, you're limiting your experience to that by something that you're assuming is outside of you. For instance, I guess I could give one example of one of my experiences, and I'm not going to try to go too in depth about it. I did a ritual working once focusing on the currents of Tiamat, Hecate, that type of lunar female aspect energy, and was trying to invoke it. And then that night, after falling asleep, my roommate said he felt like there was a presence in the room, and swore he thought he could hear someone talking and that it sounded female. And then at the same time, whenever he was experiencing this, I was having a dream about being visited by the presence of a woman who, the energy, as I can imagine, it felt very goddess-like, or like Hecate. Now, this is subjective to my own experience of it, even subjective to my roommate's experience of it. Remember, the brain and the heart are electromagnetic in nature, and the heart is actually more magnetic than the brain. So if you're capable of taking a strong amount of energy into you, then whenever it reflects back outward, it can manifest some interesting effects within your own awareness. But realize that to say any of it is too literal is going a little too far, unless that is your preference and you prefer working in that mindset that you are theistic. And of course, due to the fact that, and this is my opinion about the nature of magic and reality in general, is that there are infinite possibilities. So whichever aspect, like say there are different doorways to realities that you can work with, different levels of reality you can work with. In a sense, if you experience your practice as theistic, then you are moving yourself into a experience of reality where there is some sort of reality to the spirits that you're working with. What that reality is ultimately up to you, but you'll experience it more theistically than, say, somebody who believes it's just energy they work with that's already within themselves. And of course, there is no right or wrong way to do any practice in magic. Ultimately, it is up to you to decide what works. You have to test results based off of your practice, your experience. You can't go off of anyone else's word but your own. So keep these few key points in mind, and I hope that has helped some of you. I'll do another video shortly, and that pretty much covers a lot of the quick topics I wanted to get out for now, and more soon. So stay tuned.